Yes, we can hear you loud and clear. We can see you clearly. So we are good to go.
You're recording this?
It's going to be on YouTube also, Swamiji. It's live on YouTube.
Fine. Okay.
If you want me to, I can share that link. You want to send it out on your broadcast?
Yeah, that would be great.
I'll just send it to you right now.
So what you do is here.
Welcome everyone who's joining in. Hello, Jayashree, Bhuvana, Krish.
Hello.
Jitendra, are you the Jitendra who's on the app? You practice regularly? I know only the names, I don't know the faces. So it's nice to see the faces. Okay, it's 5 o'clock, so we can get started. Welcome everyone to today's special session. First of all, I'd like to wish all of you a very happy 7th International Day of Yoga. If you ask any yoga practitioner, every day is yoga day for us, but it's really great to be able to celebrate it, recognize it, acknowledge the role it has played in our lives and everything that it has brought into our lives with it. So many yoga practitioners have understood through the practice that yoga is not just about health and fitness, it's so much more. It brings in personal growth, mental health, building emotional resilience, endurance, and handling challenging situations with grace in our life. So all of that, we credit to our yoga practice. So it's really wonderful to be able to have a day to celebrate that. And today's discussion is about how to take the teachings of yoga into our daily life, beyond the familiar asana and pranayama, some of the other aspects, the 8 limbs of yoga. And today we have both Kamal and Swamiji, the voices on the app that all of you are familiar with. So I'd like to introduce both of them to those of you who are new to EKA, and then we'll get started with the discussion. So we have Swami Yogaratna here with us today, who is the voice behind most of the English Pranayama and Yog Nidra audios, and you will recognize her voice as soon as you hear it. She runs her own ashram called Shankar Prasad Ashram near Gokarna. It's just south of Goa. It's a wonderful ashram with an organic garden, and she has a play school for the local kids there. And she's taught yoga to people from all over the world. The first time I visited the ashram, I met so many people from all over. So it's a very wonderful community that she has from all across the world, whom she has kept in touch with through the last year and a half online through Zoom classes. Swamiji has free chanting sessions every Saturday. All of you are welcome to join that. And she also has courses online. She has one coming up next week, the Antar Mount course, and also I think a Yog Nidra Foundation course. So please do visit her website. I'll share the link also a little later on. And we also have with us Kamal Maliramni, who is our lead Hindi teacher. His voice has got wonderful comments on the app. Many people refer to him as Bhaiya in the comments. When I'm editing the audios, I hear him sign off with, aap sukhi rahe, aap kushal rahe, yahi hamari kamna hai. And I can really feel that energy coming through in his voice. So that's one of the, favorite voices on in our Hindi section. So Kamal teaches and he's a long-time practitioner, and he's been teaching in Hyderabad. He has his own studio called Energizer Yoga. Do check it out. I'm going to share the link for that as well in the chat a little bit later. In addition to Hatha and Ashtanga styles, he practices also a style of yoga called Acro Yoga, which I find really fascinating, and kind of ties in a little bit to today's topic, because in Acro, there are 2 people practicing together, and it's a lot about finding balance, just like we try to find balance in life. Unless you are yourself grounded and can connect with the other person to tune in and figure out how much to push, pull, how to, find balance. It's very difficult. So Kamal has that focus and that power, the endurance, the strength, all of that. Kamal also teaches philosophy. I am his Yoga Sutra student. He runs courses in Bhaja Govindam as well. So I encourage you to check out his website as well if you're interested in pursuing any of these courses or regular classes with him. I'll share that link in a bit. So
thank you so much, Sudipta.
That's a brief introduction. Welcome to both of you, Swamiji and Kamal. I'd like to get into the topic now, taking the teachings of the 8 limbs of yoga into our daily life. Now, most of us are familiar with asana, pranayama, and meditation. This is something we've heard a lot, especially those of you who've joined here who are already on the Eka app. But personally, when I started my teacher training program years back, I only knew about those. I did not know about the other limbs, the 8 other limbs. Only 3 limbs I knew about. So it was a revelation to me to find out about yamas and niyamas. That's something that I wanted to highlight in today's discussion with both of you. And Swamiji, I'd just like you to mention the 8 limbs and a very short description of each of them. We'll dig into them a little bit deeper.
I think actually Kamal will be knowing more about those things.
No, please, Swamiji.
Swamiji, you can listen.
You've been living it fully.
Both of
You'll have to add and correct me, Kamal, okay?
Don't worry.
Just the 8 limbs. We'll get into yamas, niyamas in detail a little bit later.
Yeah. I'm actually like Sudipta. I also heard that yoga is asanas. And when I discovered yamas and niyamas, I thought, wow, that's really fantastic. This is how we should be living our life. So the yamas and niyamas are the observances and restraints. And they really help us to become good people. And I think that that's really very important, especially in this day and age of Kali Yuga. So you've got the yamas and the niyamas, the observances like tell the truth and be clean and those things. And then you've got your restraints that, don't tell lies. And some of the one I like it most is be happy and focus on God. I think that's a fantastic one. And then, of course, you've got asanas, which everyone knows, which are the physical postures, pranayams, which most people know, which are the energy breathing practices, pratyahara, which I think is a very much misunderstood thing. Pratyahara is kind of turning your attention away from the outer world and turning it within. So usually we think of it cutting off the senses, but it's simply turning the light of awareness inside, so that instead of feeling the senses outside, you're becoming aware of what's going on inside instead of outside. And then after pratyahara, you have the dharana, which is concentration. You're focusing, but it may not be, the mind is still wandering here and there. And then if you are able to focus without a break, as they say, like a flow of oil, unbroken flow of oil, then it becomes dhyan, which is a pure concentration, when the mind is so focused and still and calm that you can hope to experience the energy and consciousness behind the mind, which gives you that experience of samadhi. I think I've covered all those limbs, have I?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely, and very beautifully. I would just like to add in for the yam and niyam a bit more.
Yeah,
Right?
actually, that is my next question, Kamal, and it's directed to you. Can you talk to us a little bit about yamas and niyamas, a little bit more, just giving an overview of what yamas are and what niyamas are?
Okay, sure. So yam is essentially all about self-discipline, right? The 5 aspects that come under yam, right, are ahimsa, satya, asteya, ishvara pranidhanani, aparigraha. Okay. Now, these are certain things which you will not encounter on an everyday basis. Okay. It's not that you want to commit violence on an everyday basis, or you have situations where you will, create violence on an everyday basis, right? So these are essentially self-disciplines. When the opportunity comes, you need to follow them. When it comes to niyama, okay. In the first one, it was actually brahmacharya. Right? In the niyam, niyam essentially means nishchit roop se karna. which means without fail, following on an everyday basis. Okay. Soch, Santosh, Tapa, Swadhyay, Ishvara Pranidhanam. So these are the 5 things which one has to, without fail, follow on an everyday basis. Whereas the first 5, which fall under Yam, are when the opportunities come. Right? What happens is when you follow this niyam on an everyday basis. Let's say one of the niyam is swadhyay, study of the self. Right? When we say study of the self, essentially, where do we belong in this world? Yeah. What is our body? What is the role of our body? What is the role of our mind? Why do we have these relationships in this world? How does the world operate? Why is there birth? Why is there death? Why is there fear of death? Why is there clinging on to life? Why do I like certain things? Why do I dislike certain things? All these components which refer to my own self. Now, where do I get this knowledge from? I get this knowledge from scriptures, right? So when I start reading scriptures on an everyday basis, so let's say I spend 15 minutes, trying to explore a verse from anything. It could be Bhagavad Gita, it could be Bhajagovindam, it could be Atma Bodha, it could be Ashtavakra Gita, any place, right? What happens is immediately it calms you down. It connects you with your real self, which is harmless, okay, which will not follow any himsa at all, which is more loving and giving and caring. Yeah. So once you start following this niyam on a day-to-day basis, then handling the first 5 yam becomes an outcome of that. Yeah, in a way. So likewise, let's say tapa. Tapa is essentially tapasya, to build up heat, to build up energy. How does that happen? It happens through restraints, right? You will say, okay, fine. Every day in the morning, I will go and jog. Yeah? And every day you do that activity. That itself, that one activity, if you talk to any of the any of the people who run marathon, they will get up in the morning and they will be on the road. They'll be on the track, yeah, doing what they need to do. Now, when they are doing that, automatically they see a transformation in themselves. In fact, that activity itself becomes very meditative, isn't it? So they will become more conscious about how they are living with the environment around them. They will start enjoying the trees, they'll start enjoying the lakes because they are running there, isn't it? And then do you think once you enjoy nature around you, will there be any inclination to harm them? Any inclination to steal from them? No, it's not possible. Any inclination to hoard them? That's not possible. Right? So yeah, so that's one particular aspect about Yam and Niyam, which if most people can gather properly, then it becomes easier to follow. If I say, no, from tomorrow onwards, I'll be non-violent. Okay, not possible, because it's your behavior. It's in your nature. Okay, I mean, if in case you have been a violent personality, a person who's short-tempered, who gets angry very fast, or who harms, someone like one of the evil characters of any of the stories that you pick up, you would obviously cannot change yourself overnight. I cannot say from tomorrow morning I'll become non-violent and stay on it. It's difficult. Yeah, it requires a process. It requires a change over a period of time, and that can happen through niyam.
Okay, thank you, Kamal. That was very informative. Swamiji, I'd like to ask you, what are some of the ways that we can take yoga into our daily life outside of the practice? Because so many of us are very attached to that practice. We get up in the morning, we do our asana pranayama meditation, but off of the mat, what are some of the ways that we can take some of the teachings of yoga into our life? So part of it, Kamal has already talked about through Yamas, Niyamas. What are some of the other ways? You're on mute, Swamiji. Can you unmute?
When I think of taking yoga off the mat or implementing yoga through the day, there are two aspects that I think of. One is actually, excuse me, actually doing the practices during the day, which is also really good and important and useful. And the other thing is, what are other ways of achieving yoga? So yoga means union, right? So it's either union of individual with the cosmos, or yoga union of body, mind, and spirit, or soul, or union of myself with a group of people. And so there's many ways of understanding that union, but it's also a union that gets you to be more aware of something greater than yourself, of the life force or the consciousness or the energy that's bigger and greater than yourself, but it's also part of yourself. Okay, so how do we experience those things on a daily life? So I find, and this is very much part of the Satyananda Bihar yoga tradition, I find one of the most important things is to develop awareness. Because when we do the practices, many times people don't think of awareness. But if you develop your awareness in your daily life, you achieve so much. You become more efficient in your work. You become more aware of what other people, their needs, and your relationships with them, how you are reacting to them, how they're reacting to you, to improve the relationships with people, to become more compassionate and kind, not only to them, but also to yourself. And awareness can also help you to enjoy life more. So, many times we do things in life, have a cup of tea or a stroll in the garden, and it's pleasant. But if you are fully aware at that moment, it becomes like an amazing thing. It becomes like a wondrous thing. And just through being more aware of how that flower is growing, or how is it that you're tasting a cup of tea, you can kind of get the full rasa of life. And to me, that is also part of yoga, is to develop that awareness so that you really feel everything is full. You feel the fullness of life just by being more alert, observant, and aware of things. So that's one aspect of yoga off the mat, is to, to feel that union in many different ways through awareness. The other aspect is, okay, I've been reaching up on this side to get something off the shelf. Now I should balance that and I should stretch up this way. And so like that, you're kind of, doing the activities that you might do on the mat, but you're aware during the day, how is my body feeling? Have I, am I hunched over too long? Should I give a good stretch backwards? So this is kind of like implementing our practices that we do on a daily basis right through the day, so that we are keeping our body fit and healthy, so that we are aware that, oh, now I'm feeling so tense, I should switch off for a moment. Let me, well, maybe I might look at my WhatsApp and see what is the latest music that someone has sent, and just space out for a few moments, or gaze out the window and appreciate the garden. So being aware of what is your mental state and learning to switch off for a few moments, so that automatically that refreshment will come. So those aspects of doing the little practices during the day, Swami Niranjan, he emphasizes it in the form of yoga capsules. So, you might do a little bit of pranayama when you're feeling, scattered in your mind or low in energy. You might do a short yoga nidra here. So you're not doing all your yoga just at one time, and then the rest of the day is just completely nothing to do with yoga. You're kind of aware right through the day, and when you need to do this yoga, when you need to do that yoga, and you're kind of inserting the practices in different parts of the day. And at night before you go to sleep, you may do a little meditation, a review of the day, some practice of gratitude. So like that, you are making yoga part of your daily routine. So one aspect is slotting in the practices at different times of the day. And the other is how we can experience union in our daily life. So as I said before, to me, awareness is one of the most important things. But there are other things. For example, someone may be upset and they phone you and they had a chat with you, and you're listening to them, and you're totally involved in listening to them and feeling what they're feeling. You're actually practicing union with them on a certain level, and that is developing your compassion. And by listening attentively to them, they're getting a lot of solace. So that's also a kind of union that we never really think of. And another aspect is, for example, chanting. I would never have thought that chanting was yoga, but now I realize in my life, it's such an important yoga, because in the morning I get up and I do all my chanting. Sometimes there's no one else in the room. And I think, well, God's here and I'm creating vibrations and I'm enjoying those vibrations. In this lockdown time, sometimes there's no one here. And then I think, well, really, I never realized that chanting is yoga, because when you've got a group of people, they're all chanting the same mantras, the same pronunciation, the same speed, and they're all in harmony together, chanting as one. And it's an amazing feeling. Not only mantras, even if you sing songs together, don't you feel great? When you sing a song yourself, you're practicing the bhakti yoga. But when you sing with a group of people, you're practicing that union type of yoga. And that also gives you a real upliftment, makes you feel great. And so in this way, there's so many different aspects where you can recognize that this is a yoga, a way of merging with the group or the higher consciousness or with your higher self.
Swamiji, I wanted you to talk a little bit about the chanting that you've been doing in the ashram this last couple of days, where you're sowing the rice seeds, I think. And I saw a small video, a clip of it. So I want you to talk a little bit about that, because it's unique. I haven't seen that before.
Yes, well, actually, if you look at the traditions of life, not only in India, but in any of the ancient traditions, everything's a sacred act. And so they honor the divine and the higher consciousness with everything that they do. So you light a lamp, you say a prayer. You eat a meal, you say a prayer. You wake up in the morning, you say a mantra. You go to sleep, you say a mantra or a prayer. So if you introduce this aspect in your life, several things happen. One thing is, again, it increases your awareness. You realize, oh, now I'm going to eat. Let me stop for a moment and do something to honor that. So it might be a mindless mantra that you don't even know what it means. But the thing is, you have stopped for a moment. And instead of just doing it unconsciously, you realize, oh, now I'm going to do this. Let me do it consciously. So having that little prayer or pause and connecting, it brings you to the present moment, and it makes you more aware of it. But if you connect with the higher consciousness through that prayer, through the act of gratitude and acknowledgement that you are doing this act, it's a way of connecting to the divine and to the higher consciousness. So instead of living your life unconsciously and just like a habit and something that you just have to do without any kind of awareness of what you're doing, you're kind of missing out on life. It's kind of like they say that you're living without living. You're living in a dream. You're sleepwalking. And so these little acts of chanting help you to become more aware and to kind of draw the divine energy into the act and to spiritualize the act. Now, as far as the rice planting goes, actually, the local people are doing that. Even the Shudras and the lowest caste people, they're doing it. And I'm learning from them. And all I'm doing is bringing the Mamatinjai mantra there. And when they see me do it, they feel so impressed. A, because I'm a foreigner and a woman, and they think that foreigners and women don't know that kind of thing. B, because they know that I'm a Swami, and so they think, oh yes, something really special is coming into this act. And C, they want to do it themselves. Automatically, they will do anything in the rural area. If you see, the carpenter, before he starts his daily work, he'll just say a little prayer or light an agarbatti or dancer, when she's dancing, she'll touch the floor and take forgiveness for stamping on the floor. And any little thing in the traditional thing, they'll do a little prayer. So I'm learning from them and saying, oh yeah, I'm thinking that's a really good thing to do. I should be conscious now. We're going to put the seeds in the earth. So let's do it consciously and, bring down the divine energy and put it in. And so they always remind me, puja. And so then we do a little puja, just lighting of agavati, putting in a flower and, chanting the mantras. But while I'm doing it, I'm really very consciously thinking, please, divine energy come and be here and let the bounty be there and whatever's meant to happen, let it be full. And so it's kind of invoking the divine energy into those acts. And you can do it in everything and anything.
Thank you, Swamiji. Kamal, that kind of ties into Ishwar Pranidhana, doesn't it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You're on mute, Kamal.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah, in fact, Swamiji put it so beautifully. Awareness. Ultimately, it's all about how you're living each moment. You do a prayer before you start eating.
My name is Divan.
उसको बंद कैसे करना है?
Sorry, I've muted the person.
Yeah, right. Okay, so let's say we pray before starting our meal. What happens with the prayer is it will immediately calm you down. So your urge to overeat will immediately vanish. And then you will treat the food as prasad. Okay, so again, you're not going to abuse the food. I only need this much. This is a prasad, this is a gift from God. And I will need only this much for myself. And I'll be very grateful for it. Right? Just like you do sun salutations in the morning, we know that the sun fills us with prana. When you do pranayama, the breath fills us with prana. This food is also filling us with prana. That's also a source of life. And now we see it in a very different way. Rather than just, filling our mouth and stomach. Our relationship with the world starts changing. So that's the beautiful part about being aware and these small practices, what Swamiji shared.
Thank you. Yeah, it's very true that if we introduce a little bit of prayer all through the day with every activity, we start treating it as a divine activity. Someone once told me, if you recognize that you are also God, then how will you treat your body? What will you feed God? What will you do?
Yes.
How will you bathe God? How will you, all the things that you would do for God, it is not outside of you, but also inside of you. So treat yourself as God and, be mindful of how you're treating your body and mind.
Correct. If you are not able to sleep, just pray. One prayer can immediately, calm you down, get you ready for getting into sleep.
Yeah.
It takes away all the anxiety, all the stress in a moment.
And it's a good way to use your mind constructively if you can't sleep. At least you can fill it with the good vibrations of mantras. I'd like to just add something there. A lot of people think that, yoga is religious and you have to pray to God and believe in God and everything. But no, that's not the case. You can be very mindful without believing in God. You can be an atheist, and all you have to do is realize that this thing is alive at this moment. I'm alive. The food is alive. The plants are alive. And there's life stuff here. There's consciousness. So even if you don't believe in God or you don't pray, it's just a matter of being aware of that extra something that is just so much greater than ourselves. And as someone said that, if you believe that you're God or divine, how will you treat yourself? Even if you just realize I'm alive, it's enough to give that awareness and uplift your consciousness.
True. I've just put in Kamal's details in the chat box, and I actually wanted to open up the floor for some questions. I had mentioned in the email that I'm going to give enough time for people to ask questions, so you can type it out in the chat box, or you can even raise your hand and I'll call out your name. While that's happening, I wanted to ask, Kamal, can you share one incident from your life where yoga has really brought about some transformation, or given you something which you recognize that is from your yoga practice? Is there something that you'd like to share? Because today's yoga day, I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about that too.
Sure. So what happened is, when I started my yoga practice, it was like everyone else. I wanted to be healthy. And one of the reasons I went to the yoga class was because stress was building up. I was into advertising and marketing, and we used to burn midnight oil. And yeah, so I went to this teacher of mine, my sir, and I said, look, I want meditation. Right? So my first thing was, I'm stressed, I want meditation. Right? So I went to his class, and he immediately said, look, you start with asana practice. Believe me, 2 years, and you will automatically become meditative. Okay, you cannot do meditation. Meditation has to happen, isn't it? So the efforts have to be put in. So you have to, follow the yam, niyam, asana, pranayama. All those aspects is something that you can do, but meditation has to happen. And yes, within 2 years, because of my surrender to my teacher, it did happen. Suddenly, where my mind used to be very stressed, it was now exactly the opposite. Now I was thinking more constructively. And one of the incidents that I can share is my very own complex, which has about 125 families living together, right? And somehow the complex management was not taking care of things. Families were not connecting with each other. Each one was living their own lives. So there was no life in the complex. I said, I need to change this if I have to stay here. Okay. And then for 2 years, I worked on an everyday basis, training the watchman how we should behave with people, how we should guide people to park the car, yeah, how we should manage with people. There was a fountain which was dead, so bringing that fountain alive, setting up good lighting within our complex. So small changes. And suddenly people were noticing, oh, these small changes are so beautiful. For almost about 1 year, 3 months, I continued doing only small things that didn't involve people at all. And they were seeing, and they started noticing, because 1 year, 3 months is a long time. So they started noticing as to how one person can bring so many changes. Yeah. Then I started games for children. Yeah. So I used to bring them down. I used to gather them, and I used to make them play a lot of games. I used to organize events for them. So suddenly children started coming together. Now, because children started coming together, the mothers started coming together. Then slowly I started organizing events for different age groups, for senior citizens, for teenagers, for children. So then what happened is the whole complex started coming together, right? And suddenly it's come so alive in 2 years' time that people who had independent houses of their own somewhere else, they owned some place, they rented out an apartment in our complex and they wanted to continue to stay because the children were having a great life. Children were going down and playing. They were not addicted to television or screen or games or any such thing. All of them were coming together and playing. And now they started seeing value there. And all this was possible because of yoga. That I could see, life in a different perspective. Yes, there were challenges. People would oppose certain things. But at no point of time in these 2 years did I ever lose my cool. Never did I get angry. Oh, so and so person, why is he opposing me? I'm trying to do good. Why I'm being, restricted to do things? Never. Whenever I was restricted, I was always very humble and kind, and I would smile and say, "If you have a better option, please come forward. I will take that forward."
Wonderful. So you
Yeah,
were able to create a community there.
absolutely, a beaming community. So likewise, like Swamiji said, yoga is about union with everyone around you. People have this misconception. Yoga means you turn into a stone, you go into a cave, you go to the Himalayas. Yeah. No. Life is not there. Life is right here where you're living. You don't have to leave anything. You continue doing your job, you continue living with your family, you continue being with your neighbors. Everything remains as it is. It is you who gets transformed and everything else around you transform. In fact, everything else around you gives you opportunity to grow in life. That's how you start seeing things. You won't see things as, oh, he's pulling me down or she's pulling me down. Oh, this world is bad. No. Now the same challenges become an opportunity for growth. Yeah. So yoga definitely helped me build that pratipaksha bhavana, looking at things in a different way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Experiencing the opposite. Yeah, very nice.
And of course, the beautiful yoga family that has happened because of Energizer Yoga. I can see so many of my students here with
Yes,
me.
I'm seeing so many people and also my Yoga Sutra classmates here.
Correct.
Very
Yeah,
nice.
so that's also a gift of yoga that has happened.
Yeah, they all come to support you, right?
Absolutely. They're always there.
Yeah,
Always
wonderful.
grateful to them.
So I'd like to ask people to open up, ask any questions. It's a rare opportunity to get all our teachers together. Swamiji and Kamal are both here, so please ask any questions that you have. And then we will end with a short practice. Swamiji, if you can guide us through just like a 3-4 minute meditative practice, that will be wonderful. But I'd like to give opportunity to people to
I would also like to mention that Sudipta herself is a great teacher. So you can ask her questions. Yes, she also has wonderful perspective towards life. I love the way she lives in nature. I see her Instagram posts about trees and about fruits and whatnot she has around her.
lot of nice comments about your I saw a few claps also. I don't know if you noticed.
Okay. Yeah.
Really wonderful. Swamiji, if you would like to share something, we'd love to hear from you too, because nobody seems to have any questions.
When I first joined yoga, I went to the ashram for a 2-week course. I was in pretty bad state mentally and physically. And I heard that ashrams are peaceful places. So I thought, let's go to an ashram and, pull myself together. And I went there and I had no idea what it would be like because I was living a totally different kind of life. And of course, at first I was quite confronted by everyone wearing, the Geru clothes and shaved head and sitting on the floor and singing kirtans. I thought it was kind of really strange. But the thing is, then I came in contact with Yoga Nidra. And Yoga Nidra is done lying down in Shavasana. It's a meditation that takes you into your deep subconscious. And I suddenly realized that my inner world was valid. Up to that, I was quite, I did have quite a active and strong inner world, but I was not very consciously aware of it. It was just something, that was there. But when I did the practice of Yoga Nidra, and it kind of validated my inner world and gave me permission to, experience and accept my inner world. It was kind of like a door opening up into a whole new universe. And after that experience, I kind of never looked back because I always, even now when I teach Yoga Nidra, it's a wonderful experience for me. And I'm kind of thinking how the students are experiencing it. And so I'm also getting the joy of that experience. And so then I kind of realized that, oh yeah, asanas are really good, pranayams are really good, this is good, that's good. And I started accepting all the aspects of yoga. But initially, I was not interested at all in asanas and pranayams. And it was the Yoga Nidra that got me in. And I think it's kind of like, I don't know, for me, it's unusual because I see that most people go to yoga for the physical aspect, And especially nowadays, the yoga is seen as a kind of like a gymnastic movement. And the realization that there was much more to yoga than that, I think was a huge thing for me.
Yeah, that's true, Swamiji. There are so many doors through which you can enter into the world of yoga. And for each person, it's so different. For you, it was Yog Nidra. For me, it was asana. And I think Kamal said for him, he just wanted to reduce his stress levels and he came in. But, eventually we can reap so many benefits. It's just, you keep practicing and you get introduced to more and more things in yoga. And you start digging deeper, and there is just so much to learn and so many ways to grow, not just in one direction. With Kamal was talking about community, but also your relationships, your one-on-one relationships, relationship with the community, everything kind of transforms and blooms. I think that's the great thing about the practice. Would you like to lead us through a short meditation, Swamiji? Just a few minutes. And then because we'll be right at time at that. Yeah.
So please, everyone, find a comfortable seated posture and stretch your spine and head upright. And gently close your eyes. Check that your shoulders are relaxed and your arms are relaxed. Keep your hands in your favorite gesture or mudra or position. And feel the shape and position of your physical body. And check that it's balanced and symmetrical. And find its center of equilibrium so that it's neither leaning forward nor back, neither to the right nor left, but totally in alignment with the force of gravity. And let that feeling of centeredness in your physical body bring centeredness and focus to your mind. And let your mind just feel the physicalness and solidness of your body. Legs are still. Arms are still. Torso is still. Head is still. Whole body still and steady. Solid. Safe. Secure. And feel the support of the floor or whatever you're sitting on beneath you. And imagine that the stillness of the floor is coming up into your body. As if the floor and body are carved out of one rock. Intensifying that feeling of stillness. A deep, peaceful stillness. Notice how you feel in this state. And now, think of the big and little good things in your life. Perhaps things that you take for granted, like having two good legs, two good arms, and a good mind, and having enough to eat, and good clothes to wear. Think of all those things that we take for granted. Realizing how lucky and blessed we are. We really are the haves. We have enough to live comfortably. And mentally, give thanks to the universe that has provided all this for us. Give thanks to the universe for all the good things in life. Acknowledging the good things in life. Nurturing an attitude of gratitude. And notice how that makes you feel. And take a few deep breaths in and out. And feel that positive feeling expanding as you breathe in. Energizing that positive feeling as you breathe in. And bring it back with you. Knowing that at any time when you feel under stress, anxiety, depression, anger, just start remembering how lucky we are to have the things that we take for granted. And very soon you'll start feeling happy, relaxed, cool, and not concerned about things so much. So let's finish off in the traditional way by chanting Om 3 times together, sending love and thanks to the world around. Take a deep breath in now. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. Hari Om. That's finish off with palming. Rub the palms together until they're hot. Keep the scent of the palms over your closed eyes. Draw in the energy generated from your palms into your eyes and brain to energize them and refresh them. And then gently open your eyes with a big smile on your face. And give that smile to all the other people you can see on the screen. And the smiling part is also very, very important, because it gives a buzz to other people, and then we get the buzz when they smile back. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. It was a wonderful session. Thank you, Kamal, for joining, and Swamiji as well. And thank you, all of you who have participated in today's session. Do look up the links that I have shared. Energizer Yoga is Kamal's. I'm just going to put it in one more time. And Swami Yogaratna's is the...
Can I just mention that we're offering an Antar Mount class starting on the 27th. which is a great way to learn how to be a witness of your mind and great for mind management. So you can just email me on swamiyogaratna@gmail.com.
Yes. Kamal, do you have any courses coming up? If you do, you can mention them too.
So currently my wife is running a course on eye care. Yeah, so eyes again are a very important sense organ, right? And currently it's being abused because of so much of screen time and being, in the lockdown. So we came up with a set of exercises from yoga as well as from the scientific community, and then you developed this 5-day program which has just started today only. And then we have the Bhaji Govindam program also coming up very soon. And then of course the Yoga Sutras, which happen every Saturday morning and evening. There are 2 batches. So yeah, so there are quite a bit of options available.
Yeah. So please do contact Kamal or Swamiji for the courses, and see you all on the app. If you haven't downloaded the app, if you heard about the app just today, please do look up ekameditation.com. Swamiji, Kamal, and I are voices that you will hear on the app, and now you know our faces as well. So see you all on the app. Bye, everyone. Have a great evening.
Thank
you so much,
Thank you,
Siddhartha.
Swamiji.
Really
Thank you,
great.
everyone.
Thank you, Kamal. I'm looking forward to your classes.
Sure, ma'am. We
Bye.
shall connect soon.
Thank you, Paresh, for attending.